Hey, this is Kat at Kattalestv. I'm exhausted. I've been covering multiple cases. First, it was Danny Masterson and Harvey Weinstein at the courthouse, and then, of course, it was Tory Lanez. As a person who's covered a lot of court cases, I can't even... R. Kelly, Conor McGregor, the college, that college scandal with Felicity Huffman and Jeffrey Epstein, R. Kelly, many Lindsay Lohan court cases, and even my own case where I was robbed. This case bugs the fuck out of me because I'm interested in justice or like facts, and I don't think there was hard facts in this case that you could prove, and also there was reasonable doubt. There was a lot of shenanigans that happened in that court's house, and I noticed that with Danny Masterson, is that some of the jurors, they would copy the same body language as one of the jurors that was copying the mother of Danny Masterson's body language. Now, the reason why I'm telling you these things is because I have a different background. My background is not just news and taking photographs and videos and stuff like that, but I also studied psychopathy and psychology and what else is that word? Narcissistic psychopaths, but also acting and directing and all kinds of different things. And I also did marketing. And the reason I'm telling you the backstory is so you might understand my perspective. I look at things in a different way, and I like logic. Emotions are important, but when it comes to the law and when it comes to the court, and because of the case that I was in, I was a victim of a violent crime, I went in there knowing I had to prove my case. Even though it wasn't my job to prove the case, I knew it. But as I drop these things to you, I just want you to understand, again, where I'm coming from. So I noticed body language and what people are doing. And I also noticed in Danny Masterson case that the family of Danny Masterson, which is Bijou Phillips, Mackenzie Phillips, China Phillips, the mother of Danny Masterson, and also his brothers, they would hang in the hallway, in outside the courtroom. And sometimes the jurors were hanging out in the hallway as well. And then also when you went to the cafeteria, you might be eating lunch and a juror sitting in front of you, behind you, in line, etc. You go to the bathroom, a juror's there. I've seen jurors looking at their phones, scrolling through it in the Danny Masterson case. Now let's talk about the Tory Lanez case. I've been covering it after the Danny case, and there was a lot of interesting things going on. One of the things I found fascinating is that every time you turned around, there was a juror, okay? Like in the cafeteria. And I would normally be quiet talking about specific things because they would sit maybe close to me or in line around me. And I'm a neutral, by the way. I don't even know Tory Lanez music, and I know that sounds horrible, but tonight somebody showed me that he was in the what's his name, Jack Harlow song. I forgot that hit song, but anyway, Tory Lanez in that. I didn't even know that was Tory Lanez, I swear to God, in the remix. So anyway, I'm not familiar with Daystar, never heard it. I was familiar with Megan Thee Stallion's music. I actually work out and do martial arts to savage. So I have nothing to gain, pro or con, of any of these people. And I've covered celebrities before that I would assume are bigger than Megan Thee Stallion. And I treat everyone with the same respect. I don't care about your celebrity. But if I'm covering you, I cover you. But I was looking for evidence. And at first, when I heard the story, I assumed Megan was telling the truth and whatever she said was right. But sitting in the courthouse and listening to the testimony and the accusations, I thought actual real facts were missing as well as evidence. So let me just talk about a couple of things. I noticed one of the jurors, who's a fashion designer, was always playing with her fingers. She wasn't listening. It just seemed like she was out of it. Towards the end of it was a short case anyway, but I'd watch her, and then I'd watch another jury member that sometimes he was really interested in what was going on, and he was sticking his head like more towards the person testifying, and then I saw some people look like they were sleeping. And also this court case was close to the holidays, so nobody wants to do a verdict over the holidays. They want to be done. So also I felt there was a rush to do the case, which I thought was strange because I thought justice was important. I thought facts was important. So let me go back to the hallway. The hallway of this trial was very interesting because a lot of the a lot of the news reporters, especially if they were Caucasian, were sitting on the opposite side if they could. And then some of them were sitting very close to Tory Lanez attorneys while they were talking. And one of them works for, I guess, Court News. I think her name is Megan. She wears glasses, and I believe she's cross-eyed. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because she tweeted on Twitter several days ago that the defense was going to say that Kelsey shot Megan. Now, I know she overheard that, but I don't know if it's legal for her to tell what the defense team is going to do ahead of when they do it. So therefore, everyone can read it, including the prosecution. Also, I felt the defense of Tory Lanez was very sloppy and unprofessional. I also thought they were probably scary to the jurors. And also the lead attorney that spoke, sometimes I couldn't understand what he was saying. He wasn't talking in the microphone. And then sometimes he seemed to be performing for the courtroom more so than maybe the jury. And you have to understand, I'm into optics because I'm also into filmmaking, directing, acting, and all these other things separately of reporting. They came off as, how can I say this? They came off as like gangsterish and not very clever. And I spoke to them, because sometimes I'd end up around them when I'm covering outside, and they seem to be very new at what they were doing. And it's unfortunate. I don't think they understood how serious this was. And I also asked them, I would say, aren't you nervous? And I go, don't you think you need to prove your case? Like, you guys have no reenactments or no, there was nothing there, like a gun, like to show the projection of the bullets or anything that demonstrates the innocence of their client. They said to me, oh, well, it's not our job to prove the innocence of our client. It's the job of the prosecution to prove their case. They underestimated the jury, or they overestimated them, depending on how you look at it. Because the jury is 12 people who have their own opinions and mindsets that we don't even know about. And if you have a lot of women on the jury that are intimidated by these two big men, where one only speaks and the other one looks like he's a bodyguard, and then you have Tory with like a, I don't know what you call it, but it looked like an acrylic, like little wall that was between him and his attorneys, it makes him look like a criminal. So you got to look at the optics, okay? Also, there was females that were bloggers and, for lack of a better word, not trying to be rude, type of groupie chicks that were dressing inappropriately and then constantly being in pictures with the family, and getting a lot of attention. And you have to understand how the jury might look at that, because it makes Tory look like he's a horn dog. And then he always has women around and they're kind of whatever, okay? I'm just giving you my version of what I saw as someone who was there, okay? And again, I am not pro-Megan. I'm not pro-Tory. I'm pro-justice and clarity of evidence, and the LAPD doing their job and lawyers doing their due diligence. Now, another backstory is Sean Hawley, who's a hell of an attorney. She was originally doing this case, and then she gave it to, and I'm so sorry, I don't know his name, that law firm, or he's a part of her law firm, I don't know. It was a wrong choice. Sean Hawley is a seasoned professional. I believe she's doing a baseball case, but Sean Hawley she handled the case of the person that robbed me, Cat Williams. And she's a formidable opponent, and she would have been the right type of lawyer to handle this case because she's female, she's black, and if she brought the evidence clearly to the jury in a non-threatening way, in a clear way, and she had diagrams and pictures that made sense, and I don't think, I would never call Sean Hawley sloppy, but also she wouldn't be hanging out in the halls and talking close to someone, all these reporters that are literally live tweeting it because they have access to laptops in the hallways. The lawyers were always walking around in the hallways, these big guys, Armenian guys, and I'm just trying to explain, I don't have a problem with it. I used to live in Armenia town. That's not the issue, but they might intimidate the jury because they look like gangsters. Meanwhile, the prosecution is saying Tory has been bribing witnesses, but with no actual facts. But yet they have these lawyers and these people hanging around that are big and that might be considered scary to the jury. They just don't get it. They don't get LA. They don't get optics. They really fucked up this case. Again, sometimes the people that were in the courtroom couldn't understand what the lead attorney was saying for Tory. And sometimes you use a pink marker to write, to make things clear, and it was just really weird. There was a whole thing about pink. Tory wore pink 2 days in a row. There was women in the courtroom who were wearing pink that were associated with Tory or his father. Now, I want you guys to understand this because it's really important. Also, there's people in the hall that don't understand what a courthouse is about. They might be fans of Tories, but they were acting what's the right word? But they didn't understand the importance of, if you are a supporter of someone, you come to court dressed appropriately, okay? Even the publicist for Tory, originally she was wearing something that she saw herself in the news media and realized she had to step up her game, and she started wearing suits, and I complimented her. I was like, you look fantastic. But you guys got to understand, it's optics. It's not logical the way some people think. They think emotionally and they think with feeling. And I realized that because someone actually messaged me on YouTube saying, when I had a discussion about logic, there's not logic in this case. And they said, yes, but the jury thinks with emotion. And they're correct. But looking back at it now, I'm seeing so many things that I never really talked about per se all the way through. But I don't think his attorneys comprehended that black people have to be bigger, better, smarter than anyone else. That's what my grandmother always told me, especially in the racist society we are in. The other thing is, Tory is from Canada. He may not know the game in LA. LA has funny cops that don't necessarily always do their due diligence when it comes to, picking up evidence, and treating everyone like their case is important and doing the things you're supposed to do in a case, like record interviews, take copious notes, have placards for blood droppings, know the direction of gunfire, just doing your job. So that means, knowing that about LA, the defense should have proven Tory's innocence if he was innocent. They were sloppy, they were naive, they thought they didn't have to do it. Wrong. They underestimated that people wanted to go home for Christmas. And they just didn't get it. They didn't read the jury correct. I saw a lot of people that looked like they were asleep and they already either made their decision or they weren't really listening. But the attorneys for Tory came off unlikable sometimes. And I really believe Sean Hawley did a disservice by not doing this case. She would have been the perfect mix, but for some reason, the other case was more important. And those guys got picked. If Tory's smart, he should fire those attorneys. They're not right for this. They don't know the media game, and they don't know that they've got, I don't want to call them spies, but you got people literally tweeting what they're doing and what they're talking about. They were worried about me. One of the attorneys was like, you're against Tory. It's like, I'm not against Tory or for Tory. I want evidence. I want facts. I cover stories. That's my job. A lot of people are very disrespectful to what I do, and they don't know what I do. But let me just say, I've been covering big stories and news stories and entertainment for 10 years plus. I'm not some stupid idiot. But anyway, what else I want to fucking say? Oh yeah, the groupies in the court. There was a lot of women doing triangulations and trying to control things in the courthouse or in the hallway. And again, they were wearing pink and they were hanging out in cliques. And there was like, I call them queens, both female and male. They were just acting the fool, yelling at people, arguing with people. Everything was about them. They would always make sure they were in a photo op with Tory or the father or they could blog, whatever, but they don't realize it may have affected the case because the jurors saw that shit. The jurors would walk in through the hallways, and sometimes people were acting the fool in the hallway. You know what I'm saying? But you got to come to court dressed appropriately. I know some of you guys don't want to hear this. You got to come to court dressed appropriately, even if you're supporting your friend. If you look like a gang member, it scares people. They think he's a thug. So you got to understand what the fuck's going on. Even Megan Thee Stallion, she came to court in a business suit, and everybody in her team looked professional. You got to understand that her team, the higher ups, Rock Nation or whoever her management, whatever, because I don't know all the names and shit, but trust and believe they went over, you're going to look a certain way. you know, everyone's going to be looking professional. No one's going to look like a hood rat. They're not stupid. Business is business. Megan looks like, I don't, you know, the sexy whatever, troublemaker, whatever, in her videos. But when she came to court, she looked a certain way. But I want to tell you something. If you're a fan of Tories, when you come to court, respect the court. The other thing that was weird is in the Danny Masterson case, I believe, in Harvey Weinstein, when the jury came in, we stood up. For some reason, in the Tory Lanez case, we didn't stand up for the judge and we didn't stand up for the jury. It's like different courtrooms have different rules, but it's really, really weird. There's a courtroom decorum that was lost. And some of the people that were Tory fans, they couldn't shut up in the courtroom. They were wearing hats. They forgot to take off their hats. You know, they didn't dress professionally. They just acted like this was some game, you know? Not very professional. But the women wearing the pink and taking attention away, not good. The woman that's extremely popular on YouTube, but she wore really revealing clothes, not good or appropriate. She looks too much like Megan Thee Stallion. And she's always sitting in the front row. And she's always with the family. Not good. Not good. You guys don't understand the optics. As an outsider, as an observer, I don't think what was given to Tory was fair. But I also feel like, one, the chick, Megan, who works for Court News or whatever the hell it's called on Twitter, I think she could have influenced the case by live tweeting that, because it was several days ago. That might be enough for a mistrial. I don't know because I'm not an attorney, but you need to check that shit out. Secondly, they need to get rid of those attorneys. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. No offense. Number 3, anybody that comes in that courtroom that supports Tory, dress appropriately and respect the court. I'm trying to think what else. They need reenactments. They need better evidence in court. Black people and people of color, you got to go into court proving your innocence, even if you're innocent, and even if the prosecution has to prove their case. You've got to prove you're innocent. It's unfortunate that these lawyers in their nice suits don't know how scary they look to some people, how intimidating they look, how the jurors couldn't hear them, how they didn't know what Sean Kelly was going to say, how they didn't rebut some of the things he said and realize that he might change his story. He's a scared white man from England who saw a bunch of black people fighting, and he literally said on the stand he thought they were going to kill the girl and throw her in the river, which he did not say to the police originally. There's a lot of weird stuff with this case, you know, a lot of weird stuff. But that's what you guys got to understand. If you ever get in a situation, let me bring this up though. If you ever go to court, dress appropriately and be respectful. And everybody in your team be respectful. I can't believe I even have to say this. They should be paying me to tell them how to do shit. But, what was I going to say? Yeah, it was kind of traumatic for me because there was a lot of weird shit going on, and I kind of talked about it in some other videos. But I have several gigs. I have several things that I'm involved in. And I'm not only covering this case and giving the photographs to my agent and videos, but I have to edit stuff for YouTube. I'm exhausted. But I believe in justice, and I believe in facts. And also I believe in emotion. That's why I thought it was really easy for two women to be fighting over each other, and also the triangulation of having Kylie, Kelsey, and Megan both liking Tory. Tory's very charming. He's a very charming person, but he doesn't understand that sometimes being attractive and being charming and having women fight over you is extremely dangerous. He found that out the hard way. But most black men that fuck around with the Kardashians, things don't look good for them. And you guys keep doing it, no offense, I'm just saying that's the fact. I wouldn't fuck with going over somebody's house that's involved in the entertainment industry, drinking their bottles because you don't know what they have in it. You know what I'm saying? And supposedly Megan and Kelsey and Tory drank a bunch of bottles over at Kylie house. And that's sad. So let me give you a piece of advice. If you're a young person coming into Hollywood, be careful who you party with and know how to hold your liquor. If you want to get wasted in your own home or your own apartment, whatever. Don't be getting wasted in other people's houses, driving around in a car with a gun. It'll get you in fucking trouble. LA is a weird, weird town. They have different rules for black people and people of color. Seriously. You can't get away with shit even if, but other people from different races can do whatever the fuck they want with no consequence. But yeah, it's a sad day for justice because based on what the jury's instructions were from the judge, I don't understand how nobody thought he didn't shoot it. But again, his lawyers were sloppy, and he should be granted another trial by calling his attorneys incompetent. And also that chick from Court News live tweeting the defense's Kelsey shot Megan thing. The other thing that was weird is, the enjoyment of him being found guilty on all 3 counts by that Megan chick who wrote for Courthouse News when she tweeted it. I don't see how that's even legal. But what are you going to do? But if there's a lawyer out there, maybe you can help with that. Maybe it's not illegal to do that. But also, again, on the flip side, I can't think of the right word because I'm so tired. Negligence on the attorneys by being blabbermouths in the hallways and everywhere. These guys were amateurs. I'm sorry. Sean Hawley should have did this case. But the thing about being independent, though, you got to have a good publicist or a good team that knows optics. Let's say we were the Kerry Washington character in Scandal. They need somebody like that to help them before they did this case because they just didn't get it. But also, all the fans, behave yourself if you go to court. Don't act a fool. And also, if someone's trying to calmly tell you, hey, chill out, please listen, because your actions in the hallways could affect how the jury perceives Tory. Because the jurors were everywhere. There was one woman who was always looked like she was sleeping. Every time I sat down in the cafeteria, she seemed to be around me. I don't know why. But, I tried to keep my mouth shut if she even got near me, because, I didn't want anything I would say to affect her thought, but for the most part, I dressed professionally every day. I did wear like a Christmas jumpsuit, on one of the days because it was close to Christmas, but I dressed professionally every day. But I'm not a part of Tory's crew. I'm a real journalist and stuff. But like I said, I'm disappointed because if he was prosecuted with facts, with actual facts and testimony that didn't change, and they actually had the gun shells and the fragments out of Megan's foot, and knowing that they were actually gun fragments, and they could place it with the gun, and they knew the direction of where the gun was shot, and it had more clarity, I would totally be okay with this. But in my eyes, sitting in the courtroom, there was circumstantial evidence. Oh, and I forgot the worst possible thing. The prosecution in the final what do you call that shit? The closing argument. The lady attorney or DA said, DNA doesn't matter. What the fuck? I've never heard that in my fucking life. Because Corey's DNA wasn't on the gun. And she had the last word. She's like, DNA doesn't matter, and convict Tory. He's guilty. And they did exactly that. It wasn't like, oh, he's guilty on one charge. He's guilty on all three charges. But they didn't understand. I think the defense team should have said, and it like made it more clear about that love triangle. And I'm going to end on this because I keep talking too fucking long. I've been involved with someone where they intentionally made me jealous because I wasn't giving them the attention that they wanted. So they had some girl like do yoga, but on them, because there's a thing called acro yoga. So she took off her leggings and like had a bikini bottom on it, and she got on top of the guy that I was seeing, and it was like doing this acro yoga shit. But he was doing it to antagonize me. So I walked away, but before I did, I said, I'm gonna kick your ass. And I wasn't joking to the guy, not the girl, because the guy knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted a rise out of me. So eventually, when I came back, because I took a shower at the beach, she got away. She left, and he was looking at me like, ha ha ha, I got you. And we literally ended up wrestling in the grass. So all I'm trying to say is passion makes people do stupid ass shit. I don't know, because there's no fucking hardcore evidence. All I know is these people were drinking for 6 or 8 hours. Anything is possible, but I want evidence. I need evidence. What happened, I think it was a crime of passion. It could have easily been Kelsey. It possibly could be Tory. It might have been Megan grabbing the gun or doing something stupid, but her foot doesn't look like gunshot wounds. Or maybe a ricochet hit her foot. I don't know. But I don't think it was intentional. And I don't think it deserves 22 years. And I don't think the prosecution proved that Tory did it. Reasonable doubt, people. I was sitting there. I'm not getting paid to say this. But Tory should fire his legal team because they suck. So anyway, this is Kattalestv. Thanks for watching, and happy holidays. Bye. Watch my other fucking videos. You can search. You'll see the cases, okay? Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein. I shot Wendy Williams in New York, 2018, 2019. I shot a lot of shit, but a lot of the court cases, all right? So I'm not just talking out the side of my ass. But you, what do you call it? Court groupies. Realize that you could have a detrimental effect on a case because you want to be photographed with the family and look cool. But it's not necessarily good. But Tory's team, I hope you read this or see this or hear this and stuff. But I got some stuff for you guys. I got some exclusive stuff that no one else got. And my agent refused to put up. So I'll put it up. And you'll see. Bye.